we're in InvisiBattle, and like we've shown before, the idea is that there are two timers set up, one that determines an invisible enemy's location, and the other determines it's just the clock speed of the game itself. It's on. You can go ahead and play it if you want. Have some fun. Yeah. And right now, how the feedback system is set up is that early on in the phase, the more or less the enemy location is very obfuscated. Half of the section of the 8 sections are lit up, and as it gets closer to the correct time to hit, it's then 2, and then 1 sector that you're supposed to punch in is there, and then you punch there. If you do it at the right time, count up, you get 1 point out of 3. If you don't hit in time, or you hit at the, if you don't hit at all, you hit the wrong time, or you hit in the wrong direction, the enemy gets hit on you.
Cool.
With the previous demo, the advice that Garrett gave us, we took to heart, which is let's focus less on the narrative aspects and stuff and get the thing working. There we go. Cool.
So when you get a hit, the audio file plays for a hit, and then if the counter passes through the whole system, or you miss a punch, the audio file will play that missed punch.
A lot of the work that went into this patch is making it very modular, making sure that all the logic is set up so that it's very precise. So like a lot of work was put in so that most everything is checked at time of punch, and it's not just being checked over and over and over again, making sure that it performs very well. And for that reason, he punches immediately, sound pops. There's no technical problems. If we had to cite the biggest current problem with the system, it's that the feedback system itself is a little inaccurate. There's a couple times where you could see that the sector that he's punching in is lit up correctly, but it's actually 1 over, because the feedback is being updated with the clock time, whereas the actual math of the installation is being checked with the enemy location counter. So it's just a small, it's like a 400 millisecond offset that can be enough to cause a missed punch where there shouldn't be. But that's a feedback logic problem. The computational logic is still sound in troubleshooting.
Also for feedback, in order to give the player more visual appearance to know that they've missed and that the enemy has hit them, you'll notice that if I don't hit for a while, it gradually becomes redder and redder. It's hard to see from the top, but from an angle you should see that the general overlay is gradually getting redder, and once it cycles through 4 misses, in other words, the player gets hit 4 times, it becomes dark red, then the system resets and you know that you've lost when you can see plainly again.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see that you guys got the punch detection up and running and are able to pretty accurately determine when you're in the right sector. That's cool. So if you guys were to continue on this project, what direction would you take it, or what would you work on?
I definitely could see this system being used in like children's arcades, like Chuck E. Cheese, stuff like that, where you could have a child come in the middle, and it's definitely very large visual, so it's easy to quickly understand. And then definitely adding in the future like a scoring system that's on top of color visuals. You can also see misses and hits for the player.
Cool. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. For me, it's easily the feedback is the only particular weak part of this. The computational logic, we put a lot of work into making sure that it was sound and performs really well. But originally the feedback system was designed very heavily with troubleshooting in mind. We were still having problems getting the logic to work. Originally, on our first demo, we had a 2-marker system set up, one that would be around center mass, and then the other is used for the punch. That way the user would be able to move around the space. The result was, I handled the like angle math on that, and they worked on their stuff. I couldn't tell what I did. It was so difficult to read and just troubleshoot. It was hard to tell what was breaking and what wasn't. So scaling a lot of that back, and for now making it based around a fixed center location allowed us to actually figure out what was going on. And the result is computationally it works really well, but the feedback system wasn't changed to reflect that. If it was if the same inputs and the same math were pumped into any feedback system in Max was better, or even something rendered out in something like Unity, the logic's there, work just fine.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it would also be cool if you could move around the space, obviously. And with that, you could add multiple players in too, which would be fun, I think. You would maybe run into some problems with figuring out how to deal with things if people got too close with one another, but you know, maybe that's like an opportunity for collaboration and